What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of DSM Pre-Game Live. Eagles, Cowboys, Week 17, with a chance on the line to wrap up the NFC East division for our Birds today. No Jalen Hurts, no Dak Prescott, no CD Lamb. This game is not exactly star-studded and 100% like we are used to seeing these two rivals go at it, but nonetheless, a very, very huge opportunity on the line for the Eagles today. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Kenny Pickett, give you guys our game predictions, our best bets, and everything else that we can get into today with about 40 minutes left until kickoff. I'm one half your host, Dylan Davis. To my left, my faithful co-host, Scotty. We are streaming to you guys live on DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube and Twitter page. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to follow us on Twitter at DSM_media. Smash that follow button. And then check out the link tree in our bio to take you directly to every other social media platform we are on. Most importantly, the YouTube channel. It's the best and only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here with us. So make sure to smash that subscribe button, like the video, share it with your friends, family, whatever else you got to do for us. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you. My man, let's hope for yet another victory Monday and restart this winning streak that our Birds were on before.
Yes, that is the hope. That is the really only hope coming out of this game with Kenny Pickett starting at quarterback today is coming away with a victory, locking up hopefully that 2 seed, depending on how other things go. But ultimately locking up the NFC East and that division title that we rightfully deserve this season. So that is the main goal. Just get into the baseline here of things to start. But it is interesting, man. Both of the Cowboys-Eagles games this year have been abysmal for multiple different reasons, mostly injuries, right? Mostly to Dak, but now we have Jalen out as well. So this game doesn't carry the this man Martian. This game doesn't carry the normal weight that I feel it usually does, but at the same time, you heard Michael Parsons coming into this week. He says they're going to try like hell to ruin our season any way they can. And on the other side, it is still a game we need to win. It's a victory we need to come away with in order to get where we want to get to. So, yeah, man, I'm still excited today. It's Kelly Green Day. It's our day to express another color within the team and the organization and have fun with that. So hopefully Kenny Pickett can come out and give us a show, man. But on the other side, man, I think it's a huge bounce back opportunity for our defense. I think that's probably the bigger thing in this game to look out for.
Yeah, I think it's a bounce back spot for the team as a whole. More importantly, the defense, like you mentioned, 22 points given up in the fourth quarter in Washington, where they ultimately led up the game winning drive and touchdown with less than 6 seconds left. But like you said before, the Cowboys aren't just going to go away quietly. Not only are they a division rival, they want to play spoiler, they want to save face. They are an NFL. They are a professional team, right? They're going to show up each and every Sunday. They've won 4 of their last 5. They won last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had playoff aspirations, and they're trying to win their division actively right now, even with already being eliminated, being the Cowboys. So, yeah, they're going to try to play spoiler today at the link, 1,000%. CD Lamb shut down for the season. That's going to play a huge factor. Obviously, no Deuce Vaughn today for them either. So you are looking at a Rico Dowdle, Ezekiel Elliott type of backfield with Cooper Rush on their center and you and me playing wide receiver for this team today. So this game should be no nonsense. The Eagles, look, we keep talking about getting into a kind of a premature bye next week, win today and rest up next week. You could do that in this game. That's what we're talking about. You're already down your starting quarterback. Kenny Pickett might be able to take a seat. And all those Tanner McKee lovers may actually get to see him throw a pass in a regular season football game today, because that's the type of job I'm looking for the Eagles to go out there and do and bury this team early on. And by halftime, if I'm being honest with you, man, not only because of the Cowboys, just not a good football team this year and very, very shorthanded. This is a humongous bounce back spot. Like you said, it's something I touched on Monday, where, look, you never want to lose the game. And from a week to week perspective, you think that you can and will win every game. And the Eagles should have and could have won that game last week. But at the end of the day, if they were going to win out and go on the Super Bowl ride we are hoping for, they would have had to have won 16 straight games. That just doesn't happen in this league or any league really when you're talking about winning a championship. So they get the loss out of the way. Now it's about, and in ugly fashion, mind you, now it's about how do you respond. Devontae Smith drops a game-sealing pass. The second time an Eagle has done that this year. You know how Saquon Barkley responded by dropping that pass week 2? By going berserk in New Orleans and taking one about 70 yards to the house and starting his campaign for MVP and leading the league in rushing this year. That's how he bounced back. This defense, how do you bounce back from Jaden Daniels? I don't care that it's Cooper Rush without CeeDee Lamb. Go take all of your frustration out from this past week, from last Sunday, out on this team today and get back to being that dominant, bully-like defense and team you are, because then that will show me, okay, this team they're right back on track. All that was a minor speed bump, missing your starting quarterback last week. Don't leave any doubt in people's minds that something might be trickling down from that loss and the defense isn't the best in the league and yada, yada, yada. Humongous bounce back spot for me, dude.
2 questions for you off of that. Looking at the Cowboys, just to get a confidence level with Kenny Pickett, if CeeDee Lamb played, how confident would you be in comparison to how confident you are now that the Birds would come away with this win? The other thing, no Nakobe Dean today. How big do you think that will be for the Eagles defense? And how concerned are you moving forward? Because that's my bigger concern there is Nakobe Dean's health moving forward. I'm hoping it's just being safe.
Yeah.
But he's had the injuries in the past, man, and he's played really well this season.
So what was the first one? How would I feel if
CeeDee was playing today? How confident would you be that the Birds come away with the W?
I'd really feel no different, man. Okay. I really want it. It's just that is just like the icing on top, like not in celebration mode. I mean, for him missing the rest of the season. I just mean like there's really not a 1% doubt in my mind that the Eagles are not going and should not win this game today. And then as far as the second one, damn, why am I forgetting what you said as the second one too?
Why am I forgetting? The defense without Nakobe Dean. Concern today versus concern long term.
Long term, 1,000%. Nakobe Dean and Zach Ballin as that tandem has been possibly one of the biggest difference makers on this team. Having reliable linebacker play week in and week out. He's a guy that's always going to be around the ball and that's going to rack up tackles. So you have to replace that somehow. Today, though, it shouldn't really matter. It shouldn't matter if Axeman Jr. is out there starting at linebacker today for the Eagles.
Yeah,
there's no real threat.
I do agree.
There's no real NFL talent you look at from across the line of scrimmage and go, I need X, Y, and Z to get done. Like, so, yeah.
Turpin has been going in for him.
Right. Like, let's stop that. Let's get after Cooper Rush today. Let's get that pass rush reestablished. Let's stop the run like we were. And I think Martian hit the nail right on the head a few minutes ago when he said, how did Fangio's defense respond after that Bucs game? They responded by becoming the league's #1 defense.
Yeah. That's
how they respond. So as of right now, as of 12:28 p.m., 30 minutes before kickoff, there shouldn't be doubt in people's minds that this team is going to bounce back today, that this team is still one of the best, if not the best defense in football, that this team is a Super Bowl, that they're going to win the Super Bowl if you thought that before last week. But in 30 minutes, it's then on the injured Eagles to keep it that way.
Yeah.
You do not fuck around and let Cooper Rush and this team hang around and we can't move the ball and they're stacking the box and Saquon can't get going and we have no answers offensively. We cannot worry about that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree on the defensive front. I think that they will bounce back today. I think it is at the end of the day Cooper Rush that we are going against with no weapons around him. Right. I mean, Rico Dowdle is probably the most renowned weapon that they're coming into the game with today. So yeah, there's literally no excuses. I do agree with you. I think this is a game where if our defensive line is who they say they are, the Jalen Carters of the world, the Nolan Smiths of the world today, go out there and wreak havoc, have a little bit of fun out there, and destroy the Cowboys. Like at the end of the day, it is still the Dallas Cowboys, those fucking cockroaches from down south. destroy them. Let's stomp on their necks early, and I think the defense is going to be a big ass part of that.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get to the offense. Do I expect the offense to just come out and just light it up? No. I don't know. I don't know if I should expect that. I do want to say one thing before we do move to the offense. Special teams got to be a lot better as well. I know we don't talk about that
better, dude. That
ever.
is.
But they were horrible against the Commanders,
I mean, that was one of the most important and underlying topics of last week's loss that I don't know that you and I even touched on enough, or if at all, but it's really one of the biggest reasons the Eagles lost that game. I mean, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders started around their own 40 every possession.
Yeah.
I don't know why Braden Mann couldn't get the ball to the end zone. I don't know if that was by design. I don't know why there was no adjustments. I don't know what was happening. But you have Jake Elliott, Braden Mann's been kicking all year. But you have Brady, I don't know what was happening. And they kept, was it Luke McCaffrey just cutting it upfield to the left side every single time? They had no response for it, man. It was disgusting. And then you had the penalty, I believe on Sidney Brown on the last kickoff, in which they go down and get even better field position to then go and win the game. So special teams has to be so much fucking better on both sides, man.
Did Jake Elliott miss
being aggressive? What'd you say?
Did Jake Elliott miss a kick this game, or was he?
Oh yeah, right before halftime. Remember,
before half.
It was
4 of 5 from field goals tries. Yeah, no, I do remember it now that you say that. So yeah, all around it was longer, but that's the point, man. We're asking you to make a 50-pluser because we haven't seen it.
Let's not forget,
need to see it before the postseason. Like
Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman extended your ass for these big kicks, for these big time moments.
I don't trust our kicker going into the postseason anything beyond 40 yards. Quite honestly,
no,
I'm not going to be confident.
And that is a problem, and it's going to be a problem. In Nick Sirianni's mind and Jake Elliott's mind when they get down to a team's 35, 36 yard line. Are you in range? Like you typically would expect to be. And, do you force it when you have this good of a defense? Because if he misses, now we're putting our defense on its heels to start a drive. So those are all things that are going to come into play, man. Jake has to be so much better. Braden, man, just get the ball to the fucking end zone, dude. Just it's that simple, man. Kick it deep and let them start to 30 rather than risking it and letting them get the ball out across their fucking 40. And within 2 plays, they're in field goal range already.
It's that simple, man.
Stop. They have to be so much better. But offensively, to get to Martian's point, Kenny's got to make plays today. This is not the same scenario as last week, okay? Yes, was Kenny Pickett fine last week? Yes, sure. Was Kenny Pickett the reason the Eagles lost? No, he wasn't. Was the offense good last week once Jalen Hurts went down? No. But the Washington got to change everything. They were able to stack the box, and outside of one explosive touchdown run from Saquon Barkley, he was in the backfield getting hit over and over and over again. Kenny Pickett was thrust into action. They dropped him back a lot. You have a full week. Kenny Pickett was getting snaps and reps with the ones all week long. He is a former first-round pick. He is a 2-year starter. Kenny Pickett should be able to make enough plays today to win this game. Now, what am I looking for offensively, right? Because when you're, excuse me, when you're talking about an Eagles team versus Cooper Rush and the Cowboys, who are already eliminated, what do you really like? What do the Eagles need to do? I don't have much of that for you, but I am looking at Kellen Moore and I am looking at Nick Sirianni today, and I want to see how they design and what they decide to do offensively. Because while Scotty and I, just a little hint for you guys, are kind of all over Kenny Pickett 175 plus pass yards today, that is going to be one of our best bets. As crazy as that fucking sounds. They want to run the ball. Saquon's less than 300 yards away with 2 games remaining from Eric Dickerson's record. The Cowboys struggle to stop the run all season long. It's one of their weaknesses. They want to do that. But if they're able to throw 8 guys in the box, how can you respond? At a certain point, it becomes a numbers game. So I'm looking at how they design, what they decide to do, because when you get Kenny thrust into action last weekend, there's no real alternate plan in place in that point in time. You had a week now. The game plan, I'm not saying it should look totally different from when Jalen's under center. It needs to look a little different, right? Yeah. Like there shouldn't be too much Kenny in the gun, turn and give a little delay handoff to Saquon. No, put Kenny Pickett's ass under center from Cam Jurgens. Get the ball, turn around, you're right. Use the fullback position in this one, and let Saquon get north-south against his defense quickly, right? So I'm looking at things like that, maybe play action, just quick hitters for Kenny. How does Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni decide to attack this defense today and get Saquon open is what I'm looking for.
It is interesting, and it's one of these games where, as an offensive coordinator, as Nick Sirianni, you can't overthink it as well, right? And I think it becomes this like chess match of like, do I run the first 2 downs and throw it on 3rd down if needed, right? And do you just do that the whole game, or do you try to catch the defense off guard? How many of those, trick or tries, with Kenny Pickett on 1st down throws do you try versus just handing the ball off to Saquon? And I think that's one of those things that you just can't overthink. Let's keep that standard and keep the offense moving the way you normally would. But to your point, I do think you take a little bit of a few, if not all of those QB options out. Now, I would like to see him use his legs a little bit more than what he did. I think he is a little bit more mobile than what he showed. And I think to your point of him not starting the game last week, it's where you see he throws a touchdown to A.J. Brown on the first time he comes in, right? Then the next drive, he tries to throw it to the same exact spot. He got comfortable right there, right? He doesn't have to make those knee-jerk decisions in this one. He's had a whole week to work with these guys. He's going to have other options that he's going to feel comfortable going to, I would imagine. The other side of it as well is him coming in mid-game. It changes everything for the players around him as well. We talked about the drop for City. AJ had a drop. Saquon had a drop as well, man. It's a different quarterback. It's a different ball coming your way. You got to get used to it. There's no excuses for those caliber of players by any means. I don't mean it that way. I just think they need to, in return today, now that you got a full week of practice with him, go out there and bail him out a couple times today as well, man. They got to make plays. That's what playmakers are for. So while I do understand and appreciate everything that Jalen Hurts gives to this offense, I think we see it. We know what Jalen Hurts, me and you are talking about. We
provides,
what Jalen Hurts provides. But Kenny Pickett, man, with Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson-led offensive line. Let's go out here and make some plays against your boyhood rival, right? He grew up an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
That's the other part I want Kenny to dig into today. If for no other reason than you just being an Eagles fan growing up and wanting to go destroy the fucking Cowboys.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm
looking to put on the Kelly Green at the link with a chance to wrap up the division in the 2 seed right now.
This is bro.
If you're Kenny Pickett, this is probably things you thought about when you were 6, 7, 8 years old.
This is a Super Bowl for Kenny Pickett, man.
Right. Knowing this is your moment and you're doing it for your team, but you're also doing it for yourself. Yeah. And that's why I think we kind of lean Kenny to go for that 175. Yeah. He threw for what? Just under 150 last week. You had numerous drops like you alluded to. Yeah. Didn't obviously miss basically the first 2 drives of the game because Jalen was obviously playing at that point. So there's really no reason outside of them running the ball 42 times today that Kenny Pickett doesn't throw for $175.
Yeah.
The fact that you watched them allow him to drop back last week makes me believe that they're going to allow him to sling it today. And that's not to go against the run. Like I will say that, like, yes, I will be happy when he drops back to pass because I do have money on him to throw for yardage. So I need those plays as an Eagles fan and as someone who wants to see history. You're going to be annoyed. Like you said, don't come out on 1st and 2nd down the first drive and throw the fuck. I don't care if the Cowboys know it's coming. The 1st or 2nd play should be a handoff to Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
It's that fucking simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do it like maybe on the 3rd drive, 1 pass on 1st down. That's okay. But you don't need to come out and establish the pass today on the 1st drive. You come out and you establish your physical presence. That's what you do. So I do agree with you there, but he is going to have to find his spots. I think he will get his opportunities, to your point. I think he threw the ball 24 times in that game, and that, to your point, was basically 3/4 of play.
14 of 24.
I do expect him to be much better this week. But you spoke of Saquon, man. What's our feeling on Saquon today? Do you feel like he goes off today? Yeah. Like hits the 2,000-yard mark type of go off today?
I do. I kind of do, man. And I know it's ridiculous with the sports book
right,
propped up have propped up his lays too, right? Like, yeah, I think him for 100 plus is minus 190. Him to score is minus 205. It's so fucking ridiculous, but that's neither here nor there. It's expected at this point, but I expect Saquon Barkley to have a game today where we're heading into week 18, potentially resting starters, but really biting at our fingernails for,
man, should we?
Right. We want to see, like, he's going to have it in the conversation of next week against the Giants to possibly break that record.
Probably
that's going to be a thing. The other thing is we're sitting here, we're talking about Kenny Pickett, childhood Eagles fan, hating the Cowboys, everything like that. You got to remember, Saquon Barkley is a PA native who was drafted into this division, who has had great success against the Dallas Cowboys and also hates the Dallas Cowboys from his time in New York. So now that he's here, it's even greater. So there's all of that, right? Like, you're not playing, man. Like, you're not playing the Jacksonville Jaguars again today. You're not playing the Tennessee Titans. You're playing that team. And there's a lot of little storylines. So basically what I'm talking about is get back to being the bully today. I know it's not Jalen, and I know you're missing a lot that Jalen provides with this offense. Get back to being the bully. Both lines of scrimmage, get back to being the bully. Quinyon Mitchell, get back to being a bully. CJ Gardner-Johnson, run your mouth, dude. I don't care. They're going to eject you again. No, like, get back to being the bully today. Get back to your identity. Run the football. Let AJ and Smitty make plays off of that. And the Eagles will have and should have no problem in this one wearing those Kelly Greens, like Martian said.
Brother, it's funny you brought up the Jags because that is the only other time we wore them this year. 27 carries, 159 yards, 1 touchdown rushing, 3 receptions, 40 yards receiving,
and quite possibly had the play of the year.
So
backward turtle.
Maybe he comes out and shows out in the Kelly Greens, man.
And the other reason too that I like. This is what I was trying to allude to by having this whole practice week and seeing what Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni come up with. Because, man, like, we're not sitting here talking about Tanner McKee making his first start in the National Football League. We're not sitting here talking about, I'm trying to think of just a really, really bad backup or third stringer, coming in. My point is this, I'm watching what Washington was able to do to Saquon and stacking the box. And I'm thinking of Saquon in New York. I'm thinking of Kenny in Pittsburgh. Well, those guys won football games. Like, Kenny Pickett started for 2 years with a lot less and won football games. Saquon Barkley ran behind the Giants line with Tommy DeVito or Daniel Jones at quarterback with less help at wide receiver and was still able to find success. My point is this. You have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on the outside. You have a top 2 or 3 offensive line in football. Kenny Pickett is a fine backup quarterback in this league. There's no reason the Dallas Cowboys should be able to load 8 or 9 in the box and completely take 26 out of this game. If that happens, I'm going to have a very big beef with the offensive line and our play designs tomorrow. Because explain to me how Saquon Barkley can run for 120 yards behind Tommy DeVito but not get anywhere today if that is the case.
Yeah.
It should not and cannot happen.
It shouldn't. And the Dallas Cowboys don't have a good rush defense. They haven't all year. Even Micah Parsons doesn't impact the run defense the way he would like to, right? He gets after the quarterback. That's what they do. They're good at getting after the quarterback. So it is an interesting thought. It's just my only thought is the Cowboys just could sell out and say Kenny Pickett beat us today. You press up on the receivers. You say, Kenny Pickett, throw the deep ball. Let's see it. Maybe he makes some pay. Maybe he doesn't. That's when we would find out about Kenny Pickett. But it's also going to be interesting to see the way Dallas approaches it because they could just sell out against Saquon to the fullest extent and leave it just completely open for Kenny Pickett to make plays. But we got to see him do it. So we'll see, man. I do agree with you. Ultimately, I think this isn't a game where all the Eagles have to sit back and just throw the ball 35 times with Kenny Pickett. It should not turn into that by any means. So come out, dominate. Like you said, it starts at the line of scrimmage, and that's usually where the Eagles can dominate and make their will and their presence shown. That's what they do. So once again, just looking for them to come out and be the bully today.
Yep. Before we get into our game predictions, man, I do have breaking news for Scotty Talks NBA's next pod. From Shams, the Los Angeles Lakers have agreed on trading D'Angelo Russell, Maxwell Lewis, and 3 second-round picks to the Brooklyn Nets for Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Dorian Finney-Smith, is that going to solve the Lakers' issues? Well,
I think it's a good
you're
fit.
right. Something to talk about.
I think it's a good fit. D'Lo back with the Nets.
Wonder how long he stays there, man.
Seriously. But all right, man. Let's get into our game predictions and get on out of here a little early so we can get ready for this matchup.
Yes, sir.
Against those Cowgirls. The Eagles are winning today, correct? Like there's not even a 1 or 2% doubt in your mind that they're coming away with a win and wrapping up the NFC East today.
Yeah, they're winning this game, man. I will be severely disappointed, and I'll be a little wrecked if they don't. Because if they don't, it's because the defense didn't show up against Cooper Rush, minus CeeDee Lamb, minus everything else that's going on in that Cowboys offense. Yeah, they have to come away with the win. Even if Kenny Pickett is playing like complete ass, the Eagles should still win this football game. The defense should be able to do enough, in my opinion. Someone said it on Twitter once again. I got to start collecting these names, man, giving credit where it's due. But it's a general thought anyways, and it just clicked with me. There's no reason, there's no way the Cowboys should score 18 plus points today, let alone 20.
Right. You're not wrong.
You get 3 touchdowns on the board today. You're probably going to win this game, man.
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree. So that'll be a little bit of a problem if they're able to get 20 plus on you, which I know sounds ridiculous when you say, "Oh, well, they scored 20 points and we won 35-20." Let's just throwing that number out there.
I'm not going to be mad, but
I just want to know where those points are coming from. How did Cooper Rush and Ezekiel Elliott get down to the goal line?
If it's a Kenny Pickett pick 6 or something,
right?
Okay, maybe that adds. We better get the W. Right. That's what I know, and we will, man. I'm not too.
There's like I said, there's not 1 ounce of concern or worry in my mind right now. And then we can turn our attention, like I'm sure Nick Sirianni and the boys will at 4:25, and see what Green Bay can do in Minnesota, man, because that's more than likely going to decide what happens next week for the Eagles. In terms of who's playing and who's not, and if Saquon's chasing history or if not. So yeah, let's get on out of here. Let's go enjoy a W, brother.
CGJINT today, or maybe Quinyon. Maybe Quinyon can get his.
So it's funny, right? Like CGJ, the story's just there. Like you got to last week. The celebration would probably be hilarious. He's
gonna do something.
Yeah. But like Quinyon and Cooper both have goose eggs for how great they've been, man. So could definitely see one of them coming away with one today, and it would be huge for either one to do that. Yeah. But guys, for myself, for Scotty, we're going to get on out of here. Let's go Birds. Let's go wrap up this division title. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's the best and only spot. Yes, get your thoughts and questions pulled up here with us and be interactive throughout each one of our live streams. We'll be back tomorrow night, hopefully, with a Victory Monday show, celebrating this division title, talking Sixers, talking Eagles, talking a lot more Philly sports with you guys. We enjoy it. We hope you guys do too. Peace out, everybody, and go Birds.
Go Birds.